Franklin TV presents Franklin High School Varsity Baseball. And on this Saturday evening, it is the Division I MIAA State Tournament Final between your Franklin Panthers and the Taunton Tigers from LeLatcher Park here on the campus of UMass Lowell. I am Sam Reese, joined today by Ryan Martin and Pete Royce. And Ryan, the stage is set. The number 1 seed against the number 2 seed. This is all you could ask for in a state championship.
It absolutely is, Sam. It comes down to everything right here. And how about this? We're in the D1 state championship, and somehow it's two Hockomock teams facing off. The Franklin Panthers and the Taunton Tigers, Sam. Two teams that have already played each other twice this year. A lot of history between these two squads, and the best of Division I comes right here at UMass Lowell.
That's right, and Pete, handing things off to you. Focusing on Franklin in particular, despite being the number 1 seed, it hasn't been an easy route to the final. 2 wins by 1 run. They've had some late heroics leading up to this stage.
Nothing like a walk-off win to seal it to get to this point. You know, talking to Coach Zach Brown before the game, I asked him about his worthy opponent, the Taunton Tigers, and he said, hold a mirror to yourself. They're a mirror reflection of Franklin. Power arms, good timely hitting, good defense. So I think, that stands to be the case because both teams have met twice and they both split. Franklin winning on its home field and Taunton winning on its home field, and now the neutral field here up in Lowell, Mass.
So we're about ready for first pitch in this one, and Ryan, the starting pitcher tonight for the Panthers is Jacob Jetty. He's their ace. No surprise that he gets the go today, and winning tonight would be a little more special considering where he'll be playing next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob Jetty, you mentioned the ace for Franklin, who will be playing at UMass Lowell, so he'll be very comfortable with this mound at LeLatcher Park, getting his first start here on the turf. So, Jetty has been their guy all year. He had a bit of an arm issue mid-season, but finished the regular season 6-1, 42 strikeouts with a 1.07 ERA. Sam, that's the lowest ERA amongst any pitchers in the Hockomock with at least 30 innings pitched. So he's ready to go, and I think we are too from LeLatcher Park.
One thing about Jetty, Ryan, is the fact that he has never faced Taunton, so they don't know what he's like. They may have watched him, may have scouted him, but they've never faced him.
All right, the lefty deals, and we're underway here in the Division I state final here for baseball. So much on the line between two of the state's best teams. Jetty has this one fouled off, and that's out of the stadium by Braden Calley.
And Sam, all of a sudden, Braden Calley down 0-2. This is something Jacob Jetty does so often and consistently, is get ahead in counts.
Here's the 0-2 count. And he got him, a called strike 3 and a perfect start for Jacob Jetty, Pete.
A little bit of a delayed call by home plate umpire Daniel Reese. By the way, is that your uncle, Sam?
I mean, it might be, Pete. It might be. I don't know.
That was a great pitch. Nothing fooling around there with Jetty. He didn't try to tease him. He just hit the black on the outside.
And so the next batter up, Braden Sullivan. It's 2 Bradens at the top of the order for the Taunton Tigers. As Pete touched on, and Ryan, both teams from the Hockomock League, and there's a strike from Jetty. Oftentimes in the state tournament, it's 2 unfamiliar opponents, but these 2 teams certainly know a lot about each other.
Yeah, I was talking to Pete pregame, Sam. I don't think we've ever seen 2 Hockomock opponents.
And there's a swing and a miss for strike 2.
Square off in a state championship game, so real history being made here.
It's all because of the new alignment with one big pot of everybody in one pot. No longer the sectionals by region. It's all one big statewide tournament.
That's a great point. As the 1-2 is dealt, and that's just outside. A close call there.
Yeah, there's going to be some of those. Always we see some heightened emotions on calls by officials now that we're this far into the playoffs. That one a little bit borderline.
Even count it 2-2. That's lined on the ground. DeGiorgio has it. He'll throw to first, and it's in time for the out. Nice job there by the shortstop, DeGiorgio.
He has one of the smoothest throwing motions that you could find around high school baseball. He always gets it to first, it seems, just with enough gusto on it. He doesn't overdo it, but he gets there in time.
Only a sophomore is DeGiorgio. We've seen him go leaps and bounds here in his second year on varsity, both at the plate and in the field.
So the number 3 hitter is Ryan McDougall. And he swings at the first pitch. This is a slow roller to second. Marino's there. He throws, and it's in time for the out. So the Franklin defense with a strong start in this one. It's a 1-2-3 inning to get things started for the Panthers.
How about that play of the Panthers, Pete? I'll just touch on it for a second. That was the Hockomock League MVP that they just got to ground out in a one-pitch at-bat to second base. So if they can have innings that quick, Pete, Panthers could be in for a really nice day.
Jetty very efficient, Ryan, in the first inning. You know, just firing away. He got to 2 balls and 2 strikes and only 1 batter. Everybody else way ahead, and McDougall helps him out by going for that first pitch and grounding out. What a great start for the Panthers here up in Lowell. You know, guys, this ballpark, you watched the movie The Natural?
I think I have, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that was filmed in Memorial Stadium in Buffalo. If that field wasn't available, I would recommend this ballpark. It just has the blend of the old, it's a brick front, but the outfield looks so old. And the infield, you know, is new, and the stadium is relatively new. Former home of the Lowell Spinners, now gone. They're not part of minor league baseball anymore, unfortunately. Was a great venue up here with some great baseball played, and I'm admiring that sign out in left field that 119 major leaguers played in this ballpark en route to a major league career. Pretty neat.
That is really neat. And Ryan, it must be cool for these players seeing that sign in left field, 119 major leaguers and counting, to just know that there were some Major League Baseball players that played on this very field they're stepping foot on.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that some teams in Division I were able to play at Fenway Park this year, so just getting MIAA and high school kids onto these professional fields and just showing them, Pete, that anything's possible, it's got to be a cool feeling to play on the same surface as we talked about all those big leaguers.
And it's really nice to have these great venues. We had Holy Cross, which was in beautiful shape last Saturday night, and they're hosting other games today. And here up in Lowell, the former Lowell Spinners, the host, which is a great atmosphere, something the kids will truly treasure. We saw that in the previous game where Austin Prep defeated Newburyport 2-1. They celebrated on the field and so forth. Just an outstanding atmosphere for high school baseball.
I'll second that. Holy Cross is a really nice venue, just so that your graduation bias doesn't come into play, but it is a nice venue.
Thank you very much.
Fair
I'm
enough.
a neutral observer.
All right, we're ready to head to the bottom of the first. Franklin designated as the home team. That's their reward for being the higher seed. It's Evan Calley on the mound, as this is a bunt attempt, and there to make the play is Sullivan. So an interesting strategy there by Garrity right off the bat, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, just Coach Brown trying to pull a quick trick up his sleeve there. Garrity, we know one of the faster players on this team, but Taunton not phased.
Sullivan was playing at the curl of the infield there, so he didn't have a lot to charge in to field that little dribbler down the left field, third base line.
And so, first pitch to Marino. Second on the way after ball 1. That's hit on the ground, and that's through the gap to the left side. Marino cruises into first, and that's an easy single for Jack Marino.
Just a good piece of hitting there by Jack Marino, who had a big game against Lexington and has kind of been quiet over the last 3 games for Franklin. But now the Panthers are the base runner, and Sam, we know that they can be really dangerous on the base paths.
Yes, Franklin, a team not afraid to try to steal and get into scoring position. Here's Chris Good. As they check on first, the throw gets away. Marino is on his horse. He's going to head into second. And Marino gifted an opportunity there to get into scoring position, Pete.
And one thing about the sidelines here on that error by the pitcher, they're very wide. The way that ball went from the pitcher to first base, it sort of hit the short part of the out of the foul territory. If it's to the right, Marino may have made it all the way to third. A lot of room on the foul territories between first and third.
Yes, no doubt about that, as the first pitch is outside. Blocked there by Dakuda. And yeah, especially compared to your traditional high school fields, that dugout seems miles away.
Right, exactly.
I'm sure the players feel much further away from the action, so a lot of foul territory, which is something the players will have to adjust to tonight. And that's low to good. So a 3-1 count here.
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing from Evan Calley, Sam, is they're just Evan Calley's kind of pitching around these Franklin hitters. This is 2 teams, Sam, with a lot of power. There is 4 players in the Hockomock League with 2 or more home runs, and 3 of them are on this field tonight between Terrell Chin and McDougall. So we could see a lot of those long balls, and now Calley brings it back to 3-2, though.
indeed.
And Chris Good, Sam, red hot. 3 for 3 with a walk against Shrewsbury in the semifinals.
Wow. Yeah, the senior trying to end his career here at Franklin with a state title. That's in the air, and another ball out of the stadium.
I don't know if those are souvenirs down on the street. Walking into the ballpark, there was a ball on the street with a bunch of kids waving.
Yeah.
And so I did the honors and tossed it up to them. And they did have, I guess, a souvenir. I'm not sure what they do with it at the high school level.
Hey, I'm sure they are appreciative of that. Evan Callie delivers, and there's strike 3. He got him looking, and Good heads to the dugout empty-handed.
And we talked about how hot Good has been. That's something that's a little bit uncharacteristic of him, Pete, is seeing a backwards K from Chris Good, but in the championship, you got to be ready for anything.
And you wonder, Sam, if this stays true, that Sam, the Daniel Reese umpire at home plate, seems to be giving the outside pitch a wide strike zone. So we'll watch if that continues throughout the game tonight.
Yes, that has been noticeable early on as strike 1 is delivered to Evan Rader, the cleanup hitter here for the Panthers. Marino remains on second with 2 outs here in the bottom half of the first.
All of a sudden, Marino gets a single, but then with the outs from Garrity and Good now, and now Evan Rader down 0-2, it's kind of do or die time to get a run across in this bottom of the first.
Another foul ball there by Rader. That time it stayed in the stadium. I believe it hit the Budweiser shed over there on the right side. 0-2. Evan Callie up in the count early. We'll touch on the Callie brothers and their sets of them later on. As that pitch gets away from Takuda. Marino on the third, and he's there upright. The first run of the game is lurking for the Panthers.
You know, with the two teams being similar as Coach described them, Coach Brown, a mirror image of each other, you wonder if with the power arms on both squads, if a run or two here or there could mean all the difference in this game.
The 1-2 to Evan Rader, and he stays alive.
Yeah, Pete brought up some stats from that Shrewsbury game. Evan Rader, 2 for 3 with a double and a walk. Another player trying to stay hot in this championship game.
Rader, a senior. Hard to believe he was playing JV last year. He's had such a great varsity season as this is high in the air and another foul ball out of this place.
And it looked like Rader there kind of maybe knew that the umpire at home was calling that pitch a strike, so he went after it. Of course, with 2 strikes, he has to protect at the plate. The ball might have been a little bit outside, but he couldn't take the chance.
A big reason why you're in this game, Pete, is your ability to adapt in these kind of at-bats.
Absolutely.
So another 1-2 pitch, and we'll keep it going. An absolute battle here between Evan Callie and Evan Rader. On deck is Henry DiGiorgio. The question is, will he have to wait till the second? Or will he have a turn here in the first inning? That's down and away. Taunton, by their reaction, clearly thought differently, Pete.
Yeah, I think they were expecting it because we've seen a trend here in the first inning of the home plate umpire calling that pitch a strike.
Now the 2-2 from Evan Callie. That's in the air, veering foul. Plenty of power on that hit, but quite a ways foul, Ryan.
Yeah, certainly. We see Evan Rader. We talked about the power between these two squads. Rader just needs to get a little bit more out in front of it, and all of a sudden, this could be a 1-0 ball game.
What a fun battle this has been. How will it end? That's in the dirt. Marino holds up at third as Takuda prevented that one from getting away.
And prevented a run from coming in.
Not surprising to see this count now go to full.
A full count indeed here to Evan Rader. Can see the Taunton dugout swinging their hats.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
No, and there's ball 4. So Rader's discipline pays off there as he takes first, and a couple of those foul balls to just stay alive, key for Evan Rader there to extend the inning.
Yeah, a big reason why, once again, Franklin's in this position. Their play, not only at the plate, but of their seniors, is being disciplined and using that leadership to carry over for the rest of the team.
So to answer my question from earlier, DiGiorgio will get a turn here in the first inning, an opportunity to drive in Marino with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Pitch outside from Evan Callie.
In the semifinal game against Shrewsbury, DiGiorgio had a big hit. He knocked in 2 runs with 1 single in that middle inning there to give the Panthers a little bit of daylight.
The 1-0. And that's swung on and missed for strike 1. Evan Callie with a beautiful pitch there.
Yeah, Callie really settling in now on the mound. He feels more comfortable than we saw him in those at-bats to Garrity and Good.
I think he took a little bit off that pitch, and he had DiGiorgio way out in front.
Callie glances over at third. And this is a foul ball towards the Taunton dugout.
Well, unlike the first inning for Jacob Jetty, Evan Callie's thrown quite a few pitches here in the bottom of the first.
Ball and a strike here to DiGiorgio. Just getting started here in this Division I state final. DiGiorgio held up nicely and takes ball 2.
Good job once again. These batters so far, Pete, have been super disciplined at the plate, not really lunging for anything.
Yeah, and you have to be careful with 2 strikes. You know, you can't be that choosy, but he gets the call on that one.
2-2 upstairs, and the count is full. A huge pitch on the way.
This one's for all the marbles here. 3-2, 2 outs, force at first and second, and even if Callie is able to get out DiGiorgio, as Pete mentioned, these pitches starting to add up.
Raider will get a head start at first base. Marino has to watch at third.
This is high in the air. It'll stay in the infield, and calling for is the shortstop, and making the catch is Dawson Bryce for out number 3. It wasn't smooth sailing for Evan Callie, Pete, but in the end, there's no damage done, I should say, as the runners are left stranded on first and third.
Stranding runners has been a problem for the Panthers in this sense. They've had a lot of traffic, which is good. But in the Shrewsbury game, they stranded 10.
Wow.
And that's through 6 innings. Of course, you don't count the 7th because they walked it off. But 10 through 6, that's a lot of traffic not coming around and touching home plate.
Yeah, in a big game like this, Ryan, it's great getting runners on base, but you simply have to capitalize on those opportunities.
Yeah, I think these little mistakes, Sam, they're obviously little right now in the first inning, but we're going to see them add up slowly. You know that when they tried to get Marino at first and that one got to by where the dugout is, those little mistakes, and as you mentioned, leaving runners on base, just things you simply can't do in a state final.
So 1 inning in the books. Jacob Jetty had about as good of a first inning as Coach Brown could have asked for, and that's going to be a key here tonight, Pete. If Jacob Jetty can move along quickly and keep that pitch count down, all the better for the Panthers.
One factor for the Franklin pitching staff, I don't know if this will become key, but because Alfred Mucciarone pitched so many pitches, by rule, he's limited in how many pitches he can throw tonight. So the bullpen is available, Kuzmic is available, but Alfred Mucciarone is limited to 25 pitches. So that's still a lot. You know, sometimes you need 1 pitch to get out of a big jam. So we'll see how it goes for the Panthers. But Coach Zach Brown is hoping for a long, long stint on the hill by his talented left-hander, Jacob Jetty.
And so far, Pete, with some of the outings we've seen from Jetty, Mucciarone, and Kuzmic in this season, these pitchers have that consistency to go a long ways.
This is Dawson Bryce, who powers one to deep center field. Backing up and making the catch is Ryan Garrity. And that's the first time we've seen action in the outfield, Pete. Center field, as you can see, 400 feet. So it's a pretty deep center field.
I watched some of the first game here, Sam, and a lot of the balls just like that one seem to die in the outfield. By the way, a strong wind
so the
blowing
wind's coming in too.
From third base to first base. And the dimensions are huge. You mentioned 400 to straight away, and that's a poke. And you can see how big it is because the players are playing nowhere near that. They're playing what you would normally expect from a high school defense.
Right. 1-1 the count. Yep, those outfielders definitely have a lot of room for themselves out there. Ball 2 from Jacob Jetty as he faces Alan Lewis. He's right in the middle of the order for the Tigers. That's in the dirt, ball 3. This is the last of 3 games today here at LeLatcher Park here on the campus of UMass Lowell. So it's been a busy day. We had, as Pete mentioned, the Division III final before this as that veers foul down the right field line. And to start the day, it was the Division IV final, the Division II and V finals taking place at Holy Cross where Franklin won their semifinal.
Yeah, it's just exciting. By the way, how was your GPS finding this place?
It worked in the end. It took a little while to get there, but I got here in time, so that's what matters. And that's ball 4 from Jetty, so he walks his first batter as Lewis takes first, and Taunton has a base runner, Ryan.
Yeah, Jetty now allowing the first base runner for Taunton. And Sam, that was a way that we don't really expect to see Jetty give up base runners. He finished the regular season with just 8 walks allowed, and then with playoffs on the year, has a total of 9 walks allowed. But all of a sudden, the Tigers now with a runner on base.
It's Colby Dakuda at the plate for the Tigers. These two teams, being in the same league, the Hockomock League, faced each other twice in the regular season. Taunton won their home game 7-5. Franklin got revenge in their home field 7-1. So it's only fitting that the state championship game decides who wins the season series.
And it's great to have it on a neutral site, and that's the way to do it.
Absolutely, as the 0-1 is coming from Jetty. Dakuda takes a strike.
I think Taunton is a little bit closer to Lowell than we were in Franklin, but still a really good mix between Taunton and Franklin fans.
The 0-2. That's hit in the air, veering into foul territory and unplayable for Isik Chin.
Yeah, just even thinking of this field here compared to the field we have at Franklin, you can just see past that foul line how much more space they have, Pete, to run.
Yep.
Certainly could be some more outs caught in foul territory.
Absolutely, you have to adjust for it, and a lot of room out there.
0-2 again. This is high in the air to right field. Chin is under it, and the catch is made. 2 down, and staying put at first is Alan Lewis.
Not getting around, really, on Jacob Jetty.
This will now ring up Sean Calley as we head to the bottom of the order for the Taunton Tigers. Jetty will check on first, runner back in time. As you guys touched on, it is a bit of an overcast Saturday evening with the wind being a factor. As long as there's no rain, we're good though.
Yeah, and not very warm tonight
I
either.
was just going to say, for a June 18th championship game, does not really feel like it.
Temperature in the low 60s. This is hit on the ground to third. Across the diamond goes Jaros, and it skips past the glove of Rader. Tripping at first there was Sean Calley, but all the way to third goes Lewis. Runners on the corners for Taunton, and what looked like a routine play at first results in an error for the Panthers.
Yeah, Jaros has also been another fielder in the infield for Franklin who's been solid all year. Just has that one skip, but all of a sudden, Sam, you have a runner at third, still 2 outs, but those are the little mistakes we talk about that could add up.
I thought Jaros maybe had a shorter distance to go to second base for the force out on that play.
It's a good point, as Jaros pretty much had his eyes set on first the entire way, but in hindsight, maybe should have gone for the force out at second. Off-speed pitch, and it's called a ball.
Jetty wanted that pitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking a little bit.
You could just see the way Jetty stared down the umpire after. He was not pleased with that call.
Well, even from our angle, it looked like he froze Evan Calley there for a second, but just didn't get the call.
Another throw to first. 2 outs here with runners on the corners for Taunton. We're scoreless in the top half of the second.
It's interesting. Sean Calley did not advance on that throwing error. He stayed at first base. Like you said, he might have tripped on the bag.
Yeah, I think watching it in real time, he kind of just tripped up when he tried to round first, or else he probably would have got to second into scoring position. 1-1 from Jetty. That's a dribbler to short. DeGiorgio has it, and there's the out at first. Franklin gets out of a jam. Jetty with a big sigh of relief. And it wasn't as smooth sailing of a second inning for the Panthers as the first, but in the end it stays scoreless, Pete.
Yeah, a good play by DeGiorgio. One error on each team, so let's get that out of our system here
Right,
in the first inning and a half and see if we can play errorless ball throughout. But Jetty has been dominant. Nobody has really powered up on him. The longest out was the first out of the inning, a long fly to center field by their cleanup hitter. But other than that, he's been dominating, but the walk got him into trouble, and an error always hurts.
And in a big game like this, Ryan, I guess you can expect some of those early jitters just playing at a college ballpark with a lot of history from the past, making the 1 hour trip to get ready for a state championship game. You can expect some of that, but as this game gets further on, those errors could be costly if they continue.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of eyes on the players right now watching it from LaLatcher Field, as we talked about. But this is just about setting in. I think we saw Evan Callie do that towards the end of that first inning. We'll see how he does in the second inning. But both teams, as Pete mentioned, now making an error, just getting those mistakes out of the way early.
And we're still way down in the early part of this game, so we saw in the last game, once you reach the second or third time around the order, a little different look for the batters at the pitcher. They pretty much size up those opposing pitchers. But here, we're so early in the game, this is still the first time around for the bottom 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Panthers.
It's Jace Lyons leading off here in the second for the Franklin Panthers. Evan Callie delivers, and that's outside, ball 1. The 1-0 paints the outside part of the zone, and it's an even count here.
Yeah, 1-1 here to Lyons, who has been a fantastic hitter for Coach Brown all year long.
Yes, that's a ball.
And in their win against Taunton, in which Franklin obviously hosted that game, Lyons went 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and 2 runs in that affair.
The 2-0 to Lyons, the designated hitter for the Panthers. And there is ball 3. The hitters count here with Isik Chin on deck, a fellow junior. That's hit high in the air, and that'll land into the seats. And luckily, no fan fell victim to that foul ball.
And how about Lyons getting the green light on 3-0?
I know it.
Now they changed the count. Okay, that's the issue. They changed it. It was 2-1.
And it doesn't matter because that's ripped into left field by Chase Lyons. The designated hitter has a single for the Panthers, just what Franklin wanted here.
Almost in an identical spot to where Jack Marino's hit got through in that first inning. Now Lyons on base, but Sam, for the first time this game, Franklin now has a runner on base with no outs. Excited to see how Coach Brown uses Jason Lyons.
And he's got good speed, so that gives him some more options.
Definitely.
Isik Chin, the lefty, up at bat for the Panthers. And he takes the ball.
There was no indication there that he was going to square around, but maybe they gave him one look, and now maybe a play will be on the second pitch.
Evan Callie glances at first, taking a little bit more time here now with a runner on base. And that's a strike.
Yeah, Chin's a player you have to watch out for on Coach Brown. He has had 2 home runs on the year, including when Taunton came to Franklin, had a 3-run bomb in that game.
It's certainly difficult to get home runs at this ballpark, but I guess you never know. As he paints the outside corner, again, a very similar pitch from Evan Callie to the last one.
With the 2-strike count, 1 ball, 2 strikes, I would think any bunt is certainly out of the question now.
Yes. The 1-2 from Callie. That's in the dirt. Dakuda blocks it as Lyons is forced to hold up at first.
Yeah, Dakuda's gotten an early workout in this game. He saved a run on a possible wild pitch in the first inning, and he saved a player from possibly advancing on that one. And now a timeout called. Blair Bork, the head coach of the Taunton Tigers, is out on the field. That's an odd time to come out with a 2-2 count.
Very strange time to come out as It's an opportune time to take a look at how these teams both got here. For Taunton, they defeated Waltham in the first round, then it 13-1. Then it was an 8-2 victory over Natick in the round of 16, a 3-0 victory over Braintree in the quarterfinals, and then a Final Four victory over Catholic Memorial 8-4. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, they defeated Lexington 14-0 in the opening round. It was a 3-2 nail-biter of a win against Chelmsford in the round of 16. 5-0 over Bridgewater Raynham in the quarterfinals, and then a 4-3 walk-off win against Shrewsbury in the Final Four, as that's a foul ball deep into the streets.
Please don't hit my car over there.
I'm in the garage, safely parked, I believe.
Probably smart of you to do that. So Chin stays alive. And that is outside. Ball 3. Taunton not happy. It's a full count.
Yeah, Taunton right there. Tried to get the third strikeout there, but now Chin stays alive.
A crucial 3-2 pitch, but first a check on first base. And actually, for a moment there, McDougall didn't know where the ball was.
Yeah, he was lucky it stayed in front of him, or else we would have had Lions scurrying towards second and possibly more.
So now the 3-2. Lions off and running. This is hit well to right field, and that is all the way off the wall. Lions coming to third. Chin sliding into second. It's a double for Isik Chin. Talk about a lot of power.
Yeah, I tried to tell you. I tried to warn Taunton about that power of Isik Chin. Almost gets that one over the sign. I believe that's got to be about 310 there in right field. Isik off the crack of the bat, getting that one to the wall. All of a sudden, Franklin runners at second and third with Jace's speed to get to third base. And Pete, the Panthers are buzzing now in the bottom of the second.
That was about 5 feet from going out of this ballpark.
Wow, that ball just kept on carrying. At first glance, it looked like maybe it would bounce off the warning track. No, off the wall. And the Panthers in business here with no outs in the second. First pitch here is up high to Ben Jaros.
All of a sudden now, if Jaros can just get anything into the outfield, maybe test Peter Moore, who's the left fielder not hitting for Taunton, Franklin could be up 1-0.
Now the 1-0. That's way up high as Jaros had to duck out of the way.
Whatever conversation Blair Bork had with his right-handed pitcher has not seemed to have been a positive one, because it's been tough sledding since that conversation with the loud double, now 2-0.
The 2-0. That's outside, and Evan Calley in some deep trouble here, Ryan.
Yeah, this is a position that you don't want to be in if you're Evan Calley, obviously, but just doesn't seem as comfortable as we've seen Jetty be on the mound so far.
Yeah, he really is struggling with his control right now.
3-0 pitch. Jaros never swinging there as he takes strike one.
Jaros, what a hero, huh? In the Shrewsbury game, a walk-off hit.
Picture perfect. And this is swung through the middle. Scoring for the Panthers is Chase Lyons, and hitting the brakes at third is Chin. It's an RBI single from Ben Jaros. The Panthers strike first in the state final.
Milliseconds after Pete calls him the hero in that game against Shrewsbury, Jaros comes up big time in his first at-bat. An RBI single for Jaros on that one. And Pete, I thought he had 2 RBIs on that one, but the play by center fielder Sean Calley to get that one in keeps Chin at third.
Well, I know why you thought that, Ryan, because Zach Brown was waving him in.
Big circles on that arm.
He was waving him in, and all of a sudden, the center fielder Calley comes up big, and Brown put on the brakes, and good for Chin being able to stop at that moment.
Yeah, he absolutely slammed on the brakes. And now there's a conversation taking place between Coach Bork and the second base umpire.
I don't know what this would be about.
I'm not sure either.
I thought there could have been some possible interference with the Bork is
Wow,
fired up. Yeah.
I'll tell you, he might get tossed.
Wow, he's got to be careful here. The Franklin dugout and crowd is fired up here.
So an assistant coach is going to come out and protect his head coach. Brian Bork, now he's going to go to the home plate umpire, Daniel Reese, and complete his discussion, if you want to call it that. It's more one way, I guess. What could he be upset about?
I saw it for a millisecond, but I thought when Jaros hit that line right into past second base. That was
interference?
Yeah, I think he was second shortstop, I should say. Dawson Bryce, who looked like he just played the ball a little
You got
weirdly.
it, Ryan. You got it. He's complaining about interference with the runner, interfering with his ability to lunge for that ball up the middle. Great, Ryan.
Yeah, great point there, Ryan. I didn't even notice that in real time, and that has to be what it is.
I didn't think it was a big deal, but obviously Blair Bork thought differently.
He was furious as Joe Terrell fouls one back.
I'll tell you one more word out of Mr. Bork, and I think that base umpire there would have maybe called it a night for the Taunton head coach.
You have to think, if this wasn't a state final, would that have been enough to throw him out?
That's a good point, Sam. You do have to factor that in.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. That's good umpiring.
Yeah, definitely a stern warning, I'm sure, however, as it's an 0-2 count. Terrell has fouled both of the pitches.
But for Blair Bork, too, you cannot be that fiery so early in this game. It's obviously a playoff game, but need to be a leader for his team.
Terrell swings at this one, and that's chop foul to the left side.
You know, with Jaros at first base, maybe not the speed that you would want there to have a play on, a hit and run or something like that. So I think Coach Zach Brown playing it kind of safe here with the 9-hitter Terrell at the plate and Jaros at first.
Something we haven't mentioned either, Pete. There's still 0 outs in this inning.
I know it. And how about the pitch count for Evan Calley?
It has to be getting up there already. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runners on the corners. Franklin has a 1-0 lead here in the Division I state final. The 1-2 dealt.
Yep, that's
and
the call.
Strike 3. Terrell not happy, but the way it's been being called tonight, it's no surprise that he rung him up.
He's been consistent, Sam. That's what you want. It may not be perfect, but he's been consistent, calling that outside pitch a strike.
So Evan Calley with his second strikeout of the game. As this brings up Ryan Garrity, we are back to the top of the order for the Panthers. So it's not the worst case scenario here for Franklin, with still just 1 out. Oh, and look at that. The runner takes off, throw to first, and stuck between 2 minds was McDougal. What base running there. And now it's 2 runners in scoring position for the Panthers.
I take back what I said about Jaros. That was blazing speed, wasn't it?
He took off. Jaros with the heads-up play, Ryan.
Got to second in a heartbeat, and I think, Sam, that was Braden Sullivan, the third baseman of Taunton, being very nonchalant and not expecting the throw from Cali at all. And as Pete mentioned, Jaros takes advantage.
Wow. Now lining up for the bunt is Garrity. That's popped up and into the netting.
Already Franklin's 3rd stolen base of the game, so something we know that they like to do often is being a parent.
Takes the forced double play out of the picture now with runners in scoring position, first base open.
0-1 to Garrity. He's just a junior, but already a Northeastern commit. This is popped high in the air, heading towards third base in foul territory. The catch is made there by Sullivan. Nice concentration there by Braden Sullivan for a big second out.
Yeah, we can get really excited about Franklin scoring a run, but that's a really tough at-bat from Garrity, because if that fly ball gets to the outfield, I'm pretty sure Isak Chin can score and make this a 2-0 game. But with that fly ball going into foul territory next to third base, now 2 outs in the inning.
And give Evan Calley credit. 2 good pitches, one on the 3rd strike to Terrell, and that one to retire Garrity.
First pitch is a strike, and perhaps there's light at the end of the tunnel here for Evan Calley in the 2nd inning. 1 more out needed, but he does face Jack Marino, who singled first time up. And this is hit to the shortstop. Throw is going to be close, but they got him for the out. Dawson Bryce with an absolute dime, Pete, and what a way to end the inning for the Tigers.
What a play by Dawson Bryce. First of all, to make the stab on the backhand, and then he unloaded a laser to first base, right on the money. That is outstanding play. That's one of the reasons why Taunton is in the state finals.
That was hit pretty deep to the shortstop, Dawson Bryce. Didn't know if he was going to be able to make the play, but he does. And for Taunton, yes, they allowed a run, Ryan, but it could have been much worse, really.
Could have been a lot worse, as you mentioned. Yeah, you saw Jaros get that RBI single, and then you have Chin at third. Jaros on the, or Jaros gets the first base, I should say. Yep. And yeah, there could have been a lot more damage, but you know that play there, as Bork continues to talk to the umpire, that play in which Joe Terrell had the backwards K, that was a huge turning point for Cali in the inning, and could be a huge turning point in this game.
And a tough thing again for the Panthers, they leave 2 more on. That's 4 now in 2 innings, and that's what they were tracking in the game against Shrewsbury, leaving a lot of men on base. Yeah, they had it first and third, nobody out, they got 1 in, but then they had it first and third, no outs again, and that's it. Those 2 runners were stranded on second and third as the inning ended.
So once again, runners left stranded for the Panthers. So Coach Brown has to be happy that they've struck first to kind of set the tone, but there have been some missed opportunities early, and we'll see if Franklin can change that around going forward. We're just about set for the start of the 3rd inning as I toss the play-by-play duties off to you, Ryan, in the D1 state final.
Thank you so much, Samuel. And as you mentioned, it's Franklin putting a run across the board in the bottom of the 2nd inning. So the Panthers, the home quote-unquote team here from LeLacheur Park in Lowell, up 1-0 now on the Taunton Tigers. Stepping in for his first at-bat of the game is Andrew Cali, the right fielder. He's the 9th hitter for head coach Blair Bork. Cali will watch this first pitch be a strike. Once again, Jetty able to attack the strike zone early in counts.
Left against left here to start this 3rd inning. Nice pitch by Jetty to get the inning going.
Second one gets a curve, but once again, Jetty has to give a big punch in the glove there as Daniel Reese not able to make the call. Sam, he might need to be talked to after the game by you.
I know. Maybe so. That seemed like a strike to me. But.
The 1-1 there, not as borderline as that one will make it 2-1.
Maybe I'll head down after this inning and have a word, Ryan.
That one low again in a similar spot. So being consistent now is Reese behind the plate. 3-1 in. Andrew Cali having his count now.
You certainly don't want to walk anybody, especially the 9th hitter.
Oh, good tip there. That one will tip off of Terrell's helmet. Joe seems to be okay, though. And once again, we've seen this more with Taunton pitching, but now Jetty in a full count.
Yeah, these full counts are just huge as the umpire gives Terrell some extra time after taking that ball off the face mask. But as you mentioned, he appears to be unfazed. But yeah, obviously first batter faced in the inning here, Ryan, but you don't want to allow the leadoff hitter to get on.
I believe that is a first full count for Jetty, and here it is. The 3-2 swung on by Cali to left field. That one is going short into foul territory, and it's Ben Jaros making the catch near the wall. Good play there from Jaros, who makes up for an error in the top of the 2nd.
Nice play because he had to deal with the warning track. He was pretty much safe from hitting the stands, but the wind also was a factor, and it was a high pop-up. So good for Jetty to come back from the 3-2 count and not walk the 9th hitter for the Taunton Tigers.
As you mentioned, that was the 9th hitter, and now as we go back to the top of the order and another first strike by Jetty, it's to Braden Cali, the 2nd baseman. Cali led this game off with a backwards K, Jetty's first strikeout of the day. Second pitch to Cali is taken for a ball. Braden Cali swings at that one once again. He had 5 RBIs so far in this playoffs for Taunton.
And you have to love the way that Jacob Jetty goes to work. Not a lot of time in between pitches, Ryan. That's such a good thing for the team.
Quick here again, and 1-2. Tries him with the off speed. That one has Cali swinging.
Yeah, you can tell every start, especially for a state final for Jetty, he's just absolutely locked in, trying to deal quickly, get in, get out, try to get the job done.
The 1-2 once more to Cali. This one grounded to Jaros. Jaros will field this one and get a good throw off to Raider. 2 outs in this inning, both coming courtesy of Ben Jaros.
Very nice play by Jaros, and what I liked about that, Ryan, is he actually took a little short crow hop towards first base before he released the ball, just to cut down on that long distance across the diamond.
Yeah, and Ryan, you mentioned that early error from Jaros, but ever since then, Franklin's defense has looked very solid. They've seemed to have settled in.
That's another strike As the first pitch in at bat by Jacob Jetty, and this one goes from Braden Kelly now once again to Braden Sullivan as the second hitter. Sullivan grounded out to DiGiorgio in his first at bat, and now down 0-2 in his second. 0-2, 2 outs in the inning. All of a sudden, Taunton is on the verge of wasting this third inning. Braden Sullivan, 0-2 from Jetty. Swung on, that one grounded, and it will hit the snack stand over there. Just going over everyone's head.
And hopefully it didn't land in anybody's pizza down there on the right field line. By the way, the concession smelled beautiful coming into the ballpark here.
Did.
That one taken low by Sullivan. Evening up the count at 2-2. It'll be Ryan McDougall. Once again, your Hockomock MVP if needed. But that one is another fly out. This one looks like it's veering foul, and once again back into the stands for Braden Sullivan.
Yeah, and that time you saw a changeup from Jetty trying to mix it up, but not fooled there was the Taunton hitter Sullivan, and he stays alive here in the count, trying to prevent a 1-2-3 inning from occurring here.
It's been about 80-20 with off-speed and fastballs from Jetty. This one 1-2. This one will stay in play. Flown out. It's Chin coming in for it, and Isig makes the catch to the end of the inning. As Sam mentions, a 1-2-3 inning for Jetty, who keeps dealing as we now enter the bottom of the third into this one.
Yeah, a 7-inning game, so the innings, pile up, and that's the second 1-2-3 inning. That helps his pitch count tremendously. And I just like the pace in which he pitches. He doesn't fool around, takes the sign from Terrell, goes into that windup and lets it rip. And he's, other than the second inning when he gave up a walk and had an error, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad that he's comfortable in this park, Sam, as we'll talk about in 1 second. But it just really feels like he's playing the game on his terms, so something he'll hope to do here once he gets here in college. But it's just so important, especially in a neutral site, to play the game and pitch on the mound on your terms.
Absolutely, and going back to what I said earlier, he's really, taken control of the game, and that's how he likes to play, Ryan. That's how he likes to pitch when the games are in his terms, as you rightly put it. Some pitchers like to take their pleasant time between pitches and really draw it out. Jetty is the exact opposite. He likes to get things done efficiently, in and out, working quickly, keeping that pitch count low. And so this game has gone how I imagine Jetty wanted it to so far through 3 innings.
And a good thing, Ryan, that he left McDougall in the on-deck circle. He's probably, their best hitter?
Has to be.
And to have him lead off an inning is so much better to have him come up with men on base.
It's true. So Taunton will Shran McDougall leave him for the top of the fourth. It's still Callie on the mound, and we have Colin Botello, a pitcher for Taunton who's pitched in 3 of their 4 playoff games. He's in the bullpen now. We'll turn over the score sheet. It's Chris Good to lead off for Coach Zach Brown. Goody in his second at bat fell victim to the K last time. A strikeout looking. First pitch to Good, taken high and away.
Yeah, and we were talking about foul territory earlier. Part of that is because there's no true bullpen.
Yep.
They actually just warm up kind of in the field of play there in foul territory, albeit. But, you can see both in left and right field. Right field is even closer to that foul line where they warm up.
Yeah, you got to imagine if Franklin has a pitcher in the bullpen as Good watches the third pitch, make it 2-1 in the count. If it's the right fielder, Andrew Callie, charging on to make a play in foul territory with a pitcher in the bullpen, it could be a conflict of interests. The 2-1 to Good is skied high, and just as we say Callie's name, no, it'll stay in the infield of the grass, but making the catch is Braden Callie. So we were talking about a Callie, just not the right one. And maybe we'll use this time as Evan Rader prepares to bat to talk about the Callie relation, as we mentioned. So I believe, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but Evan Callie, Andrew Callie, and Braden Callie are all brothers. Cousins to Sean Callie and Jack Callie.
Who are also brothers, yes. So the 5 Callies out there, they make up about a quarter of the team.
So it seems like, guys, if your name isn't Callie or Braden, you're probably not playing in this game.
That's right, that's right.
We're playing Fuller House here in the D1 state final. Evan Rader takes ball 1 and then takes a strike. Counts even at 1. Rader had a walk in his first at bat. And watch another ball here. 2-1.
Ryan, Callie has an interesting windup. He comes to a little bit of a hesitation with that left leg kicking up just before he delivers to home plate. That time he didn't do it.
It's almost like Johnny Cueto, one of those pitchers for the Giants who will has 5 different windups.
Yeah,
and
he
he'll just
doesn't
pick
use
one.
it all the time. You're right. But when he uses it, he has that pause.
Raider watches this one again, and it's back to full count at 3-2.
Yeah, and Evan Callie just a bit inconsistent so far in this game, Ryan. Really hasn't found that consistency.
Big pitch here, and he gets Raider to ground out. That one get past the third baseman, but at second base, and no, not making the play from shortstop, I should say, was Dawson Bryce. Evan Raider beats out the throw.
Well, we knew that Bryce has a good arm, but that was deep in the hole. And credit Raider for really lugging it down the first base in time for the safety.
Yeah, Raider just got on his horse there. He absolutely took off for Franklin and got there in the nick of time.
The 5th hit of the game now for Callie. Could have been a big play to get one out as Henry DiGiorgio takes the ball.
And that Franklin bullpen is occupied at the moment. That is James Kuzmic in his sweater warming up at the moment for the Panthers. Something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, that's something when we're doing games at Franklin, Pete, you don't really see too often because they're behind us, but now a clear view of our bullpen.
Right, and the other thing, it's a little bit unusual for Kuzmic to be up this early in a game. That could be a factor that, Mucciarone is available, but is limited with his pitch count because he went so long in last Saturday's game at Holy Cross.
DiGiorgio now with a 1-1 count, 1 out in the inning, and Raider leading off of first. That one taken outside a little bit for a ball. It looks like Kuzmic is coming off the mound, and Sam, I think that's one thing that we may not see always when they're behind us, but Kuzmic possibly could just go throw some pitches, come back, sit down, go throw some more. Just trying to keep him loose.
Exactly. Staying loose, staying engaged, I suppose.
DiGiorgio lines this one, but Callie is in good position. Andrew, that is, to make the out. 2 outs now on the fly out to right.
And that time we saw Andrew Callie just in a pretty good position to make that play. Didn't need to cover too much ground. It was never in doubt there as to whether or not he'd get the out. 2 down here in the third run.
And it's Jace Lyons up to bat once again. He had a single and came all the way around to score the first run of the game in the second inning. Callie, though, it feels like, Sam, this is happening a lot where he starts off a count with a ball and always finds himself behind.
Yeah, and obviously as a pitcher, you do not want to find yourself behind every batter you face. It's just not the way you want to deal.
The 1-0 to Lyons is a little high again, make it 2-0. Pete, just the difference we're seeing between Callie and Jetty is that comfortability on the mound and really attacking batters instead of letting them come to you.
Yeah, it's all about the rhythm, and it seems like Jetty is just in a flow, whereas Callie's struggling.
2-0 to Lyons. That one is smacked to center field, and barely having to move there in center is Sean Callie for the 3rd out of the inning. So Franklin will strand 2 more here, or 1, I should just say, just Raider. But they still have a 1-0 lead as we enter the top of the 4th. And up to bat now for Taunton to start this one off. It will be Ryan McDougall, Dawson Bryce, and Alan Lewis. So, Sam, right now, Jetty having a comfortable pace and really continues to dominate. We'll see if he can bring it into the 4th inning. What are we seeing from him that's just different in terms of their pitch count, pinch-wise, than Evan Callie on the other side of the ledger?
Yeah, well, I think Pete touched on it moments ago. Jetty has been a lot more calm.
Yeah.
He's in the zone right now, is how I'd put it. Really not phased at the moment. He hasn't looked shaky at any point, really. Of course, there was that second inning, if I'm not mistaken, where Taunton put 2 runners on, but Jetty was able to get out of that jam harmlessly. And even then, when he was in a bit of trouble, he never let that affect him, and that's what the best pitchers do. You don't let chances like that for the opposition to get to your head, because that's where things could fall apart. So far, so good through 3 innings. Still a long ways to go in this one, but I like what I've been seeing from Jetty in that sense. And opposite to Evan Callie, he's been getting the lead in a lot of these counts, which has been a key.
And the longer he goes, sometimes the stronger he gets. He has pitched deep into games. On the other side, the Panthers now have left on their 5th base runner in the first 3, and that's about how they tracked in the semifinals against Shrewsbury. 10 runners stranded in 6, and they're halfway there. You hope that can stop,
Right.
and
Yep.
we'll see if that becomes a factor here in the latter part of the game.
Yeah, and as good as Jetty has been, Ryan, it's still a one-run game. Franklin has only scored 1 run, so this is still anyone's ball game by far, and still 4 more innings to go, of course.
That run support, just something that Franklin needs in this one. Still find themselves up 1-0, but we know that can change in the blink of an eye. First pitch to Ryan McDougall, taken high for a ball.
McDougall, Ryan, with great size, isn't he? What a big boy.
He's a pitcher and first baseman. A lot of stats on him in 1 second. That pitch that we've seen outside a little bit, now called for a strike. McDougall 7-1 on the mound with a 1.95 ERA. And how about this? As he lines this one to center field, charging in is Garrity, and he'll let it drop. 476 batting average, as I was going to say. Ryan McDougall has, I believe, is that the first?
It is.
Might be the first hit given up by Jetty here in the 4th inning.
Yes.
I think Garrity was respecting the power of McDougall
Yep.
and played fairly deep. So when that soft liner came into him, he just could not get to it. He was starting with a pretty good run to get up to it. Couldn't get it.
That changeup working to perfection now is the first pitch to Dawson Bryce, taken for a strike. Bryce flew it to Garrity in center field in his first at-bat. We just kind of talked about it before the game, Sam, but this is a Taunton team that can really hit. 4 players batting over 400, including Dawson Bryce, who's at 444. So Jetty's doing a really good job to not let this task of the Taunton batters really face him and daunt him.
Yeah, that's what's made his performance even more impressive.
Now in a strike to Dawson. 1-2
What
the
a
count.
pitch there, Ryan. Low and on the black on the outside.
Once again, that comfortability and just being calm in it. Now 1-2. Swing. That one's tipped just foul, getting a piece of it. Keep it here at 1-2. So the 12th batter Jetty's faced here, as we're in the top of the 4th. The 1-2 again to Bryce,
Oh.
and it's swung on and missed. The changeup fooling him once again, and that off-speed pitch, Pete, really working right now for Jacob Jetty.
Second strikeout of the game, so he hasn't gone to the K that much. It's been a good defense behind him for the most part. There has been 1 error, but he has mixed in those off-speed pitches effectively, as you've noted, Ryan. That one might have been a foul tip. I thought I heard a little bit of contact, but Terrell hung on, and no indication, though, from the ump that it was foul.
Another big swing and a miss there is Alan Lewis, the designated hitter, trying to get a piece of that one. Lewis just walked in the 2nd inning, came all the way around to 3rd, and kind of scared Franklin for a second. It's McDougall off first base. 0-1 turns to 0-2 as Jetty continues to have his way. McDougall not necessarily looking like a speedster on first base. And how about this? 2 strikeouts in a row, as it's Alan Lewis sitting down via the strikeout.
Yeah, and that time Jetty pitching up in the zone as going chasing there was Alan Lewis. I love how Jetty's just mixing it up, Pete. The batters don't seem to know what to expect at this rate.
He goes with the high speed for that strikeout, and yeah, 3 strikeouts in the game now.
Another first pitch strike to Kobe Dakuda, as the Tigers, now with 2 outs, are in danger of stranding the leadoff batter. 0-1 to Kobe Dakuda, the catcher for Coach Bork. That one's flown out. Isak Chin heading towards foul territory in right field, and he'll make the catch, as we mentioned, with that extended foul line. It's Franklin kind of coming back defensively after stranding McDougall. Sam, if you're Coach Brown, you got to like the way Jetty pitched after allowing his first hit of the ballgame.
He's been absolutely rolling, and the funny thing about that final out, Ryan, is all the Franklin fans are on that right side. The dugout as well, of course, on that right side. They couldn't see the catch made by Chin. There was a bit of a delayed reaction there. Of course, we had a great vantage point of it, but that's why you didn't hear super loud cheers. That's just the way the ballpark is formed and shaped. And midway through this game, Coach Brown has to be pleased with Jetty. He is working quickly at this rate and keeping the shutout up until this point, Pete.
Only one hit in the game, Sam, which coupled with a walk and an error has really prevented a lot of traffic on those base paths. And that was the heart of the order that he got there. Some big power hitters, and he struck out the number 4 and 5 hitters in their lineup, and he gets the foul ball to the 6th hitter. So good recovery after the single by McDougall, gets Bryce Lewis and Dakota to close out the frame.
As you mentioned, a really good job by Jetty to just climb back in that inning. We alluded to earlier how he's had 2 1-2-3 innings, and how about this, follows it up. He has the leadoff hit, but only 4 batters in that 4th inning. As we head to Franklin's ups in the 4th inning, it's still 1-0 Franklin. And due up in this one is Jace Lyons, Isak Chin, and Ben Jaros. Jaros, his RBI has been the only run scored today. I stand corrected. I believe it's Isak Chin leading off now.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we mentioned it earlier, but I can't stress it enough. For June 18th, I can't believe this weather. I mean, it's been cloudy. That wind just won't stop, and temperature by the time we get to the end of this game will be in the high 50s.
Yeah, it really feels like we're in October football mode here.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It'll all be worth it if Franklin comes out on top.
It's Chin now to lead off this 4th inning for Coach Brown. His huge double to right field, which hit that WCAP.com sign, and Wright just kept it in the ballpark and moved lines to 3rd. Chin now up in the count 2-0.
And it's good to get that kind of power towards the bottom of the order. So Chin bats in the 7th slot. And to have that kind of power at the bottom, it's really tough to defend this team, Franklin. They can hit 1 through 9.
They really can.
Yeah, and going off of that, Pete, it was the 6, 7, and 8 hitters who in succession got on base with hits and ultimately drove in that first run of the game.
At 2-1, Chin lunges at one. It goes to 3rd base where Braden Sullivan makes the play, gets it to McDougall for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and conversely, if second time through the order, Taunton can quiet the bottom of the order for the Panthers, that would be a good sign, because obviously they have the top of the order with the likes of Garrity, Marino, and Good to worry about. They don't want to worry about the rest of the lineup, but that's just the nature of this Franklin team. Up and down through the order, wherever you look, it's solid.
It's a big reason why they're in this game is they have the speed, they have the power, and the IQ to just really be scary at the plate. It's Ben Jaros, the 3rd baseman, stepping in once more. RBI single in his first at-bat. And watches that one as the count is now at 2-1. Jaros takes that one for a ball. So I believe the scoreboard has it wrong. It's 3-1 to Jaros. And he'll take a big swing at that one, though, so we'll bring the count now to full.
And James Kuzmic is back warming up in the Franklin bullpen down the right field line. We're getting to that stage where Coach will probably have a short leash on his starting pitcher here.
His bullpen catcher, Tyler Bellin. No helmet, no chest protector, though. I beg your pardon, that ball now makes the count full. Ben Jaros looking to provide a spark with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Panthers. That one grounded to Sullivan, and that one will get through the legs. Not a great angle we had on that one, if it's an error or just a bad hop to Sullivan, but regardless, it's Jaros on first with 1 out.
I think it might go down as an error in the end. Sullivan just lost focus. I don't know if it took a quick hop in front of him or might have just went right through the wickets cleanly, and that's a mistake Taunton can't afford.
Yeah, I would think it would be an error. He did touch it, I believe.
Yeah.
He did not appear to take any bad hop or anything of that variety.
No. Tough place for the 3rd baseman today. As the first pitch to Joe Terrell is fouled right at the press box.
That might have been stuck on the roof, Ryan.
Well, if we had a position that we were for that Shrewsbury game, the Springfield Central, you might have been able to make the catch as we were atop the press box for that game. One day I'm going to make a catch. I'm calling it. Terrell now 0-1. Even the count at 1-1 as Callie unable to find the zone once more.
Yeah, I'll never forget that football game against Springfield Central at Shrewsbury. That was the most crammed I've ever been on top of a press box.
Thought we were at a concert for a second, not a D1 semifinal football game. Jaros is off on the hit and run. This one is going foul by Terrell. They'll hit about the first row of bleachers in right field. Count now at 1-2.
So Coach Brown puts a little action in the game with a hit and run. Jaros with surprising good speed with the stolen base in the second inning, and he was off and running on that pitch.
Both Brown and Jaros, remember your comment from earlier, Pete, and they're trying to show you
Yeah, exactly.
that Ben has some wheels.
Yeah.
1-2 to Terrell, but first they'll check on Jaros at first.
It was a toss from Callie just to let Jaros know that he sees him over there. There was nowhere near a strong pickoff play. He had a very little lead.
The 1-2 to Terrell. A big one. Heading foul. That one will go way out, but it'll stay in the ballpark. Another foul ball into the stands by Joe Terrell. This one going down left field instead of behind the plate.
Looks like a fan got a souvenir right there.
Terrell staying alive, which has been the case for some batters down 2 strikes. There's one more look at Jaros. Think about the Raider at bat in the first inning. This is at bat by Terrell. Panthers not going down easy at the plate against Evan Callie.
And Kuzmic returns to the dugout from the bullpen.
This one lined to left field, and it will go just foul on Joe Terrell. Terrell just needed to be a little bit later on that one, and Jaros could be at third or even at home, Sam.
Yeah, even though Terrell's the 9-hitter, we know he has power. At Franklin's ballpark against CM, he hit a home run on a line drive down the left field line, and if that ball had gone fair, my goodness, what an opportunity it would have been for the Panthers.
And you know, Sam, that home run helped give the Panthers a victory at CM, and since then they haven't lost.
That's right.
20 straight wins.
That one, another backwards K to Terrell. Make him 0 for 2 on the day so far, so how quickly the tides can turn. It looked like Terrell had maybe an extra base hit down left field line, and now his second strikeout looking of the game.
And that, yep, go ahead, Pete.
It didn't help that it looked like Terrell started to swing, and I'm not sure if that hurt the umpire's view of it or if he was going to ring him up on the called strike 3 anyway.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's the second time Terrell has been rung up.
Yes.
We'll move back to the top of the order once more, as it's Ryan Garrity, 0 for 2 on the day. Looking to get on base here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Still 1-0 Panthers. In this D1 state so it's not semifinal, it's final, as Garrity grounds that one to the second baseman, Braden Callie. So it's still Franklin up 1-0 here. As I mentioned in that MIAA D1 state championship game here, it's the number 1 seed Franklin Panthers up 1-0 on their opponent, the Taunton Tigers, the number 2 seed, a rare Hogmock rival in this one, as I pass the play-by-play duties for the 5th inning over to my partner, Pete Royce.
Thank you very much, guys, and wow, what a game, huh?
Yeah.
It's all you would expect for a state finals. 1-0, strong pitching, not a lot of hitting. 1 error for the Panthers, 2 for the Taunton Tigers, and that hasn't factored into it, but down the stretch we go. Now we probably begin to see the wheels of strategy moving, because you can bring in whoever you need to, and we'll see if Coach Zach Brown, how long he stays with his outstanding left-hander, Jacob Jetty.
And you know that the 2 pitchers are doing a phenomenal job, Ryan. When you look at the way the seasons have gone for both of these teams, yes, their defenses have been great, but for both teams, they're pretty much offensive powerhouses. Yep. Even looking back earlier in the tournament, these 2 teams had put up a good amount of runs in earlier games in the state tournament. And but here in the state final, a nail-biter here, 1-0 the score. Both pitchers have been real solid, especially Jacob Jetty, of course. And for Jetty, it hasn't been all about strikeouts whatsoever, because a lot of the balls have been put into play, but a lot of grounders, a lot of groundouts, I should say, and a few flyouts, and that's how we see Jetty usually. I mean, he can strike out a few batters, but he's not that type of person who's gonna get an unreal amount of strikeouts like some pitchers can.
Yeah, we talk about the success of this staff here for Franklin. Their bullpen, their starters, but really what Jetty also relies on is the play of his defense, which has been fantastic for Franklin on the year, only allowing 55 runs. That's about 2 runs per game, give or take. So you mentioned high-powered offenses. Both offenses scoring over about 7.5 runs per game, and really so far, Jetty and Callie silencing them.
Jacob Jetty, first pitch is whacked deep to right center field. That's going to go through. It's cut off there. No, it goes all the way to the wall. Sean Callie is turning for third. He's going to be in there. He's going to be in there with a stand-up triple to lead off the visiting 5th inning.
And for the first time this game, Ryan, these Taunton fans making a lot of noise. And in a tight game like this, that's all it takes, a lead-off triple in Taunton in business.
Yeah, as you mentioned, these two fans separated. Taunton on our side, Franklin on the other. We're feeling our feet rumble after that triple by Sean Callie. Pete, still only a 1-0 game. Taunton now definitely in business and certainly in this one.
The safety squeeze is on. That was not a full squeeze. It was a safety squeeze with Evan Callie, the pitcher, bunting, but he fouled it off. The runner on third, Sean Callie, his cousin, was staying there until the ball got down fair, and it did not. One thing about the last triple, Garrity in center field, I thought was going to cut it off, but it got by him and it rolled all the way to the wall. This is now a safety squeeze again, and it's strike 2. Strike 2 again. Sean Callie at third is not charging. He's not giving himself up and committing to this play, and Evan Callie is 0-2. He's the 8th hitter in the lineup for the Taunton Tigers, trying to tie the game in the top of the 5th. The 0-2 home. It's a tapper to short. It's going to get the run in. The game is tied. The throw over to first for the out.
Yeah, just a quality piece of hitting by Evan Callie, helping himself out a little bit on the mound by getting a grounder to DiGiorgio. And really good play by Taunton to get a run across the board. They'll definitely sacrifice that out, Sam, as they now even this game at 1.
Yeah, you easily take that out. As you mentioned, great piece of base hitting there from Evan Callie. Did just what Coach Bork wanted him to do, Pete.
Yep. Coach Brown playing the ball, playing the defense back, conceding that run, not wanting a big inning. And DiGiorgio made the play. And it's 1 out, nobody on, but 1 run in. We have a tie game in the top of the 5th. This is Andrew Callie up now. He hits a grounder to short again. DiGiorgio will throw on the run, gets it over there in time for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, Pete, you touched on it earlier. DiGiorgio just so smooth.
Yeah.
It's so calm when he makes that throw from short to first. Makes it look easy, does the sophomore.
Yeah, it's the leading scorer for the basketball team, Pete. I don't know what he does smooth there, fielding a ground ball or hitting a three-pointer.
Or throwing over to first. That's pretty smooth as well. So we go to the top of the order now, and Braden Callie will step up with 2 outs, nobody on. Pitch is down low, 1 ball and no strikes. A triple by Sean Callie. It split the right center field area between right and center. Rolled to the wall. There's a drive. Loop to left field. This is coming in quick. And the shortstop, DiGiorgio, with the smooth running catch to retire the side.
Yeah, Pete, that was smooth with a capital S as we keep talking about the play of DiGiorgio in the field. It looked like that might have even been a collision between Gooden left field, Jarris in third, and DiGiorgio in at shortstop. But the sophomore, once again, looking like a veteran, taking control of that play and making the fly out.
So the bottom of the order gets the job done for the number 2 seed, the Taunton Tigers. They put 1 across, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. We're tied at 1.
And as I said right before that 5th inning got underway, Franklin was looking good, Ryan. Jetty was dealing, but it was still a 1-run game, and Taunton still very much in it, and all it took was that triple to ultimately lead to that tying run.
Yeah, it's only a 1-run game, or it's a 1-1 game, as you mentioned, and obviously you don't want to give up a run in that inning, but Pete, Jetty continues to deal, especially when he sees something not go his way. Only a 4-batter inning once again, so Jetty still keeping that low pitch count, and we could certainly see him there out again for the top of the 6th.
A nice recovery by Jetty. He gets his teammate involved. DiGiorgio makes a play on the last 3 batters of that inning. So Franklin now will go to the home 5th, and they'll have up 2, 3, and 4 for the Panthers. It'll be their 3rd time facing the right-hander, Evan Callie. And this will be Jack Marino. He is singled, and then he popped out to third base. Marino, the senior, the second baseman, stands in to lead off the bottom of the fifth. And he hits a drive to left field, high drive. It's just going to hang up for a long time for Peter Moore, and he records the putout on the first pitch of the bottom of the fifth. 1 out.
Peter Moore hasn't been involved too much at all defensively, Ryan, but he had to come into action there, able to keep focus for the out.
Yeah, I think one thing we're noticing from this pitchers, Pete, is a lot of batters are kind of late on pitches instead of ahead.
And there's the hesitation pitch by Callie, and he gets a strike called on Chris Good.
A big reason why these right-handed pitchers aren't hitting it to Moore in left field.
Good takes one in the dirt. Good has struck out looking in the first and popped out to second in the third. So he's been up in the first, third, and now in the fifth. And he lines one to the shortstop for the out.
Talk about perfect positioning there. Dawson Bryce, right place, right time. And quickly, it's 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, that might have been one of our first true lineouts of the game there. Is Good hits it, as you mentioned, exactly into the position where Dawson Bryce is. Good doesn't even have to drop his bat on his way to first.
2 quick outs. Here's Rader. He takes the strike. Evan tonight, he walked in the first and singled in the third. And he was one of 5 stranded runners. Twice he's been stranded on base. 5 runners stranded for the Panthers. He swings at a pitch maybe a little bit high. Nothing in 2, and Evan Callie has a second life here in the game.
Yeah, as we feel the momentum here on the Taunton side, Pete, you can just feel the switch here. Taunton now tied the game, 2 strikes and 2 outs.
And Callie's pace is much faster now. He throws one about 59 feet. And it'll go to 1 ball and 2 strikes on the cleanup hitter for the Panthers, Evan Rader, the first baseman. This is a long throw by the shortstop. He got it there. We talked about the strong arm of Dawson Bryce, and he gets it over to first in time for the out.
Yeah, Pete, that was almost identical to the infield hit that Evan Rader had in his second at-bat, in which he got it past the third baseman, and Bryce wasn't able to throw him out. Dawson Bryce at shortstop learns from his lesson, and this time gets Rader.
And for the first time tonight, the Panthers go down 1-2-3 in their order.
Yeah, and you can just feel Taunton getting more and more into this game. The fans fired up, and it's just the nature of the ballpark where even throws from the infield can be huge confidence boosters, because that was not an easy play to make for Dawson Bryce. That's the unique part of playing a game at a neutral site, not your traditional high school field, where even a throw like that made within the infield gets the crowd fired up and could be huge for Taunton going forward.
He's done it more than once tonight, showing off a strong arm from that shortstop hole. That was in the hole, and he threw out Rader by a half a step. So we go to the 6th. We're tied at 1. And Jacob Jetty will face 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Here in the 6th inning, he'll have Braden Sullivan, Ryan McDougall, and Dawson Bryce. At the moment, no action in the Franklin bullpen. As Joe Terrell whips it down. Again, the Franklin defense in the outfield, Chris Good at left, Garrity in center, Isaac Chin in right, third base Jarrell, shortstop DeGiorgio, second base Marino, first base Evan Rader, catcher is Joe Terrell, and Jacob Jetty has pitched 5 strong innings so far here in the state finals from Lalishore Park in Lowell, Mass. And here is Sullivan, 0 for 2 tonight. Pitch is high, ball 1. Sullivan grounded out to DeGiorgio in the first and flew out to Chin in the third. Hits in the 2 slot for the Tigers. And he drives one deep to right field. Chin has a beat on it, and he hauls it in. Balls do seem to die in the outfield, and that's the first out of the inning on the long fly ball to right.
Yeah, you mentioned those balls dying, but also credit to Isaac Chin. We can feel the wind coming, as you mentioned, from left to right. Chin does a good job of playing to the wind and recording the out.
Here's a big batter, Ryan McDougall. A ground out and a single. Got the first hit off Jetty in the fourth, and he swings and fouls it back.
Yeah, Pete, I think this is truly the best pitcher-hitter matchup of the day with Jetty and McDougall, and now in a huge position.
No balls and 1 strike. The pitch. McDougall takes a strike. Beautiful pitch right at the knees by Jacob Jetty, the senior left-hander for Coach Zach Brown. The 0-2 fouled back just off the glove, and Terrell pounds his glove saying, I wish I could have held on to that, but it was a pretty good foul tip.
Right, and that's the mindset Terrell has. He wants to be the best at everything, and even on that, when it's not really a catchable ball, still frustrated with himself.
Pitch back, and a long drive to right field. That's way out there. It's going, and it is off the wall. Chin fields it, and McDougall pulls in with a long double. That too. Now they're saying it's a home run.
It hit the scoreboard.
A home run for Ryan McDougall, and Taunton leads it 2-1.
Yeah, what power there from McDougall. You were telling us earlier, Ryan, he's their #1 hitter. Obviously, they're good throughout the lineup, but we saw right there why he's their #1 guy. I believe that hit the scoreboard or the sign right under it, which is technically out of this ballpark.
Well, you can see that yellow lining, too, of when the ballpark ends and when's considered a home run. Ryan McDougall with his 3rd home run of this season, and that power coming to play now with Taunton having their first lead of the game.
And that did not need any assist from the wind.
No.
It was a wicked shot by Ryan McDougall, and he's given the Tigers a 2-1 lead. We're in the top of the 6th. Jetty pitches back, a grounder foul by Dawson Bryce. Bryce has flown out to center and struck out swinging in the 4th inning. 2-1 Taunton, top of the 6th. It's a 7-inning game. Jetty, pitch home, a tapper over the mound. DeGiorgio with the field and the throw in time for the out. 2 outs now in the 6th.
Yeah, now I'll be really curious to see how Jetty settles it down after allowing that home run. He's not a pitcher who allows home runs very often at all, never mind a state championship game. And it's just crazy to see how quick the momentum can swing. Franklin needs to keep their composure, and that starts with Jetty on the bump.
Really can.
Alan Lewis steps up, and he takes a strike. Lewis, their designated hitter, has walked and struck out.
James Cosmic now in the bullpen once again, and his catcher, Tyler Bellin, now in full gear.
Pitch home is lined to the left field. That's just foul for a long strike by the DH, Lewis. Lewis hits in the 5 slot for Coach Blair Bork.
That's the break that the Panthers needed right there. If that one kind of stays fair and gets past good, could be an extra base hit for Alan Lewis.
The 0-2 home. Strike 3. There's that pitch on the outside corner. It's been a strike all night long. And the Taunton Tigers go down, but not before they take the lead. 1 run on 1 hit. No Franklin errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Taunton 2 and Franklin 1.
You can tell the emotions running high at this stage of the game. Lewis clearly disagreeing with that call. And credit to one of the assistant coaches there who right away came out, made sure to bring Lewis to the dugout. No reason to get ejected in a silly way like that. So that's good coaching there, Ryan.
Certainly was what we saw from Blair Bork in that 2nd inning, Sam. There's no more handouts for Taunton, and they definitely have to watch it when it comes to dealing with umpires.
We're going to move to the bottom of the 6th, and Franklin will have the 5, 6, and 7 hitters up. DeGiorgio, Lyons, and Chin. DeGiorgio 0 for 2, a pop-up and a fly-out. Lyons 1 for 2, and Chin 1 for 2. So they've had some success here at this part of the middle of the order. 5, 6, and 7 towards the bottom. We're in the bottom of the 6th, and Evan Cali now with the lead for the first time tonight.
Member of the Franklin High School administration, please.
Franklin led 1-0, then it was tied, and then in the top of this inning, Taunton goes ahead on a long home run by the powerful Ryan McDougall. And here we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Yes, and right before this bottom of the sixth inning gets started, I don't want to forget something. Our good friend Napan Goyle, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, he wanted me to relay one message from him, and that's go Panthers. So hopefully that can will them from behind to get the victory tonight. We, of course, wish that Napan could be here with us.
Yeah, Napan, we miss you, buddy. And here we go to the bottom of the sixth. A tapper and is dropped by the pitcher, but he fields it, and he's going to get it over there in time. One pitch, one out in the sixth inning. You can just sense the momentum with the Tigers here right now.
Yeah, that one taking a bounce off Evan Callie's. That one takes a bounce off Evan Callie's glove, and DiGiorgio tries to beat it out, but right now things really working in Taunton's favor.
Jace Lyons at the plate, he takes the strike. Lyons a single, and the one run that the Panthers have scored has been in his person. That was in the second inning. He singled and scored. He came across on a hit by Ben Jaros. And he takes the ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Foul back to the right. 1-2. Isaac Chin waits on deck. Lions would love to get on in front of Isaac Chin. Bullpen action for the Tigers as well. Curveball does not come over, it's low. 2-2. The Franklin bullpen at the moment, quiet. Callie on the 2-2 home. That's the pitch that's been a strike all night.
Yeah.
But Lyons gets the break.
I mean, that was an eerily similar pitch to the one that Jetty had where it was called a strikeout to end the last inning, Ryan.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Jace Lyons. The payoff pitch home. Lyons fouls it off, will do it again.
Good job protecting the plate by Lyons, because you never know, obviously, with some of these calls that we've seen, but thought that one could have been a ball 4 for Jace, but we'll keep the count full.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Evan Callie with the wind and the pitch, and that's a fly to center field, mile high in the air for Sean Callie. He's camped under it. He makes the one-handed catch, and there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
And it just hasn't been the inning that Franklin is looking for. The momentum, as Pete rightly mentioned, clearly on Taunton's side. Franklin, sooner rather than later, has to change that around because time is certainly running out.
And Pete, you mentioned too how Franklin's 5th inning was the first time this game in which they went 1-2-3. If Chin goes up, they'd be repeating that unfortunate pattern.
Yeah, that would be 8 batters in a row that would be retired by Callie if he can get Chin. And there's a shot down the first, takes a bad hop, but McDougal fields it, tosses the first in time for the out. What a heads-up play by both the pitcher and the first baseman to complete that play. 3-1 it goes, and Franklin will be down to their last 3 outs.
Evan Callie was simply all over that, Pete. He immediately ran from the pitcher's mound to the first base bag. You always want to be there just in case as backup. That time he was needed, and Taunton's clicking on all cylinders right now.
Was it my imagination? Do I see a little bit of white sticking out of his glove as he fielded, as he took that throw from McDougal? Maybe just a slight snow cone there, but he made the play. So Franklin has been retired 8 batters in a row by Callie. He was on the ropes early on in the game, but he's hung tight, and his team now has the lead into the final inning we go. So Franklin not leaving runners on base because they haven't gotten anybody on base in the last 2 2/3 innings.
And it's crazy, Ryan, how things have shifted. Early on, Jetty was in the zone, looking so comfortable. He allows that triple, which led to a run, then the home run, and all of a sudden it's Evan Callie who has settled down. Kind of the opposite as we expected based on the way things were going.
Yeah, as you mentioned, definitely. It felt like it was Jetty's game to lose in a sense, and all of a sudden Franklin stalling a little bit, as Pete mentioned, 8 retired batters on offense, and really Jetty now looking a little bit less comfortable. Big hit to your Hockomock League MVP, Ryan McDougal. So this is going to be a huge inning now, as you mentioned, for Jetty. How long will he be out there? How short is that leash of Coach Brown? I'm excited to see if Jetty can kind of come back to like we saw Jacob of the earlier innings pitch.
Well, Sam, you mentioned Nippon Goyle. He's been, like yourself, one of our 2 great student announcers here for the past 4 years. And you've been the other one. And for the top of the 7th, we throw it back to you, Samuel Reese.
All right, thank you so much, Pete. What a pleasure it's been being with all you guys, and still at least one more inning before we put a wrap on another fantastic year here at Franklin TV. And hopefully the Panthers can win it in comeback fashion. It's another nail-biter, and I guess we wouldn't have it any other way, the way Franklin has won some of their games these playoffs. All right, we're ready to get the 7th started. First pitch swung on, that's looped to left, and that drops beyond the glove of Chris Good. It's rolling all the way off the left field wall. Good will field it into DeGiorgio, and holding up at second is Takuda. First pitch swinging went to Kuda, and Taunton has a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, we talked about how that momentum has switched here, and how about the nightmare continuing for Franklin. The very first pitch to Dakuda, it's a double to left field. Chris Good is unable to reel that one in. So now a pinch runner at second base for Dakuda, and we'll see how short that leash, if it gets any shorter now for Jetty.
Yeah, it looks like that pinch runner is number 36. Yep. I don't have that on.
Yeah, Xavier Spencer.
Okay, thank you for that, Pete. Xavier Spencer, the pinch runner here, as we will have a meeting at the mound as Coach Brown comes out to speak with his pitcher, Jacob Jetty. And that's going to be it for Jetty. James Kuzmic is entering the game here in the 7th.
That'll do it for his career at Franklin. Jacob Jetty, we just touched about it, how fantastic he was in this game. He gets a well-deserved standing ovation. Fantastic as this ace, as we talked about for Franklin. Jacob Jetty, we'll see if Franklin can come back for him, but really great job and great career at Franklin, Pete.
I think part of that standing O for Jetty was not just the fact that he pitched 6 strong innings, but the fact that he's taken his final bow as a Franklin Panther. And what a career for Jetty, and the fans on the right field side appreciate that, and so does all of his teammates came out of the dugout to greet him as well.
Yes, you love to see that. Jetty has had one heck of a career here at Franklin. He'll, of course, be continuing his playing career here at UMass Lowell next year. But right now in the present, all he can do is watch on, Ryan, and hope that Franklin can pull it out.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pitcher to watch on, though. James Kuzmic has been solid for Franklin all year out of the bullpen. How about this? In the regular season, only a .77 ERA as both a starter and a closer. So James Kuzmic is as good as they come out of the bullpen. He's a guy, Pete, who will give you his best stuff, his hardest pitches, usually for 1 to 2 innings on end. It's been as of recently. So a good player, if you're Coach Brown, to be putting into this game with a runner on second and no outs, a guy you can have confidence in with James Kuzmic.
He certainly knows how to pitch in high-stress innings, Ryan. He had that against Shrewsbury, where he had some tough defense behind him. He had a lot of traffic in that top of the 7th inning on the semifinal game, but he just bore down and got the job done and was able to finish it off, and then Franklin walked it off. So here he starts with a runner on second base, which is the responsibility of Jacob Jetty. And that'll be Kuzmic's number 1 job, not allowing the pinch runner Xavier Spencer to score and keep it a 1-run game. So important. Oh, what a difference. 1 run or 2 or more makes all the difference of the world when you're coming up for your last time at bat.
Especially in a game like this, Ryan, where runs have certainly been hard to come by. So for me, honestly, Ryan, Franklin can't afford to allow a run here in this inning.
They really can't, and they're obviously in a tough position with no outs and a runner already in scoring position that Kuzmic is inheriting. But as Pete touched on, Kuzmic is born for these kind of situations. We've seen him do it all year, but I got to side with you on this, Sam. I think if Xavier Spencer is able to come around and score now for Taunton to make this a 3-1 game, I just think that's really hard for Franklin to come back from with 3 outs to play with in the 7th.
So Sean Calley up at bat for the Taunton Tigers. James Kuzmic enters in a tough situation here. Top of the 7th inning, runner on second after the Dakuda double. Spencer is the pinch runner for Taunton. Kuzmic takes a deep breath and he's ready to go. He just like Jetty, a senior for this Panthers team. Kuzmic winds up, and that's a wild pitch into the backstop. In the third goes Spencer, and, well, that's a nightmare start to Kuzmic's entrance, Pete.
I don't know what happened there. He may have been a cross-up, and it looked like it was a bunt that Callie was trying to put down. I don't think he offered, but the bat in front of the plate might have stopped some clear vision on the part of Terrell. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Ball just sailed all the way to the backstop. And now it's runner on third with nobody out.
Wow. The 1-0 on the way for Sean Callie.
Does not get a higher pressure situation now here for Kuzmic.
He already has an RBI, does Callie. That's a fly ball and veering foul as it bounces in the dirt.
And here's something to think about too, Pete, right? This is the IQ of Franklin if it can set in. If you're Ishik Chin right there in foul territory, do you have the IQ to actually not make that catch, let it drop in foul territory so the runner at third cannot tag up?
What a great point, Ryan. That would be high intelligence play, and you're absolutely right. That would be the play to make because you can't give up this run. Excellent point, Ryan.
We'll see if they're as smart as yourself, Ryan. Oh, look at this. The runner's in a pickle. Spencer's in trouble. Toss to Terrell, who tags him on the third base line. He is out. Terrell flashes the ball. It's a massive first out, and it clears the bases.
Talk about Franklin getting something to cheer about. Sam both in the stands and James Kuzmic now on the mound. Joe Terrell, a football linebacker who will be playing at Endicott University. He knows how to take those big hits. Xavier Spencer tried to give him a shoulder. He wasn't buying a Pete, and a huge first out in this inning.
How did he hold on to that ball? That was tremendous contact, and his football experience absolutely, Ryan, comes to play.
We'll have to remember that as Sean Gilman rips one to deep center, and it's over the shoulder of Ryan Garrity. He'll field it, and that's a stand-up double for Sean Callie. My, did that ball keep on carrying, Ryan?
It did, and it was Ryan Garrity in center field who was looking from his left to his right. That wind certainly playing a factor. So all of a sudden, once again, it's Taunton with one out. Pete, it feels like Franklin was in a nightmare, woke up for a drink of water, and are possibly going back to bed here. We'll see what happens now that they are in this situation. One out and a runner at second.
It's a great analogy, Ryan. You know, that ball just did so many tricks with the wind. He was turning, Garrity turning right, turning left. He almost had a chance for it. It was a looping drive. And how about Sean Callie, a triple and a double tonight?
Yes. And backing up Sean Callie is his cousin Evan, and Kuzmic will throw over to second. He's got a keen eye there on the bag. That wind just not dying down whatsoever. First pitch now for Evan Callie. That's just high, ball one.
The bottom of the order here, 8 and 9, have not been productive. That might be one good spot here to think about as you face 8 and 9 in the form of the Taunton bottom of the order.
Yes, retiring these next two hitters would be massive because you don't want to meet the top of the order for Taunton one more time unless you have to, if they ultimately force this to extra innings. 1-0. That's a line drive, caught by Raider. He's going to throw to second. The foot's on the bag. It's a double play for Franklin. And we go to the bottom of the seventh. Franklin trailing by one, but they certainly have a chance.
Well, rise and shine, Franklin, as we go back to that last point. Franklin getting a huge double play. Sam, you just think about the situations they're in. A runner on third, no outs. What's the best thing that can happen? You get him in a pickle, that happens. Then with a runner on second base and only one out, Pete, what happens? Franklin turns a double play. Are you kidding me? This is championship type baseball, and Franklin now in a pretty good position as they get their last ups in this bottom of the seventh.
How many times you see two doubles in an inning and nobody scoring and nobody left on base? They got two runners off the bases in pressure situations, and if you're going to have some momentum going into the seventh inning, that was it. That brought the Franklin fans out and cheering hard, and they have a chance now in the bottom of the seventh. A great job by Raider and a nice job by DeGiorgio covering that bag and being right there for the throw from Raider, which was right on the money.
And Ryan, defense doesn't always translate to good offense, but to end the inning in that way where the crowd is back into it from Franklin's side of things fired up, that could play a role, you have to think, going into the bottom of the seventh.
Well, it absolutely does, and as you mentioned, it's not really like basketball or football where defense can translate to offense so easily, but those cheers on defense can certainly back you up on offense now. So I'm excited to see what Franklin can do. Pete, one thing that this Franklin team is not built for, though, in these moments, they don't have a lot of depth in their hitting. Yep. They've had the same starting 9 really since opening day as Alfred Mucciarone heads to the bullpen here, but really there's been no hitters, Pete, as Evan Callie's still in this game. There's been no hitters with multiple hits. You don't really have the depth to bring in a new guy either.
Well, you're going to lean on players who brought you there. They got you to the dance, and now you're going to dance with them. Ben Jaros, he's had some big moments this year, and Joe Terrell, he's had some big moments in the previous year. And here we go. Here's your call, Sam.
All right, all hope is not lost just yet. It's down to this, the final 3 outs. This is a high hopper to third. The throw in plenty of time from Sullivan. Jaros went after the first pitch and 1 down here in the 7th.
All right, you got Joe Terrell up now with 2 strikeouts looking on the day for Terrell. Can he turn it around in ultimate fashion?
I'm a little surprised that Callie is in here for the 7th inning.
Yep, Evan Callie trying to go the distance here as Terrell takes ball 1 in the dirt. Now the 1-0 pitch. Outside. Borderline pitch there.
With those 2 strikeouts now, as Terrell is up 2-0. One thing we haven't seen is a courtesy runner, Luke Sidwell, in for Terrell. If Terrell can draw a walk, that's a huge advantage on the base path.
Nice point.
2-0. High in the air, down the right field line. That's going into foul territory, and it won't be playable there for Andrew Callie.
Ball landed in the field, but it might have scraped up against that right field barrier.
Might have, yeah. And actually, we can't really see it from our angle, but I think there's even more room past the stands there in right field. There's even more dirt there behind. That's where the ball, I believe, landed. 2-1 to Joe Terrell. Right at the pitcher from his bottom side, throws to first for the out. Unbelievable there from Evan Callie, Pete.
He's done some great fielding, and that was a highlight reel play. First of all, to knock down that hard shot, and then from the seat of his pants to throw a perfect ball over to first baseman McDougal. What a play by Evan Callie.
And this is what it comes down to. 1 more out needed for Taunton. Ryan Garrity at the plate. That's a foul ball over our heads and out of this place.
Taunton crowd on their feet right now as their team is once again just 1 out away from winning the D1 state final.
No balls, 1 strike to Ryan Garrity, the number 1 hitter. And strike 2 called on the outside part of the plate.
Garrity did not like that call.
Nope. Evan Callie a strike away from a complete game win in the state championship. He kicks out and deals. That's a high fly ball into the infield. It's still hanging up there. It is caught. The Taunton Tigers are your Division I state champions as they defeat the Franklin Panthers by a final score of 2-1. A devastating defeat after an unbelievable season from both teams. But in the end, Ryan, the Tigers are your champions and the Panthers fall just short.
Yeah, it's a hard pill for Franklin to swallow. We know that they've been so close in the last couple years. They get to the state final here, and to lose to a Hockomock rival, Pete, a team that you've played twice already this year, this is a heartbreaker for Franklin, a team, with a lot of non-senior experience. They are losing Jetty, they're losing good Marino, Raider, but a lot of good young players. We'll see if they can get back here. But right now, Pete, this one stings here as you lose to the Taunton Tigers.
It really does, and just a little nice moment. Alfred Mucciarone, the Franklin star pitcher, was the first one to go out to Garrity on second base after the pop-up and give him a hug, and just a nice show of support for his fellow team. Give Taunton credit. They were down 1-0. It was 1-1, and then they put one across in the 6th inning on a long home run by McDougall. And Callie was, what can you say? He was outstanding. Goes the route. Didn't strike out too many, but he got some key Ks, and he's fielded his position terrific. And Taunton breaks a 20-game winning streak. That also makes it hurt a little bit more, but still a tremendous year for the Panthers as they go down as the state finalists, but that's about all.
And as we wrap things up here, Ryan, what's so devastating about it as well is you came so close, the way to the final, and we know how hard it is. There's so many great teams in the state, particularly in Division I, and with the single elimination format, you have to win 5 games in a row against very good opponents. They get harder as you go deeper and deeper into the tournament, and to get this far but come up just short, it hurts because everyone knows it's not easy to get back here, never mind win it.
It certainly is. I mean, you talk about the talent that we've seen. This truly was. We talk about the new MIAA format too. This was the 2 best divisions in Division I.
Yeah.
You look at the game that was played today. Taunton played a bend don't break game. They allowed that first run of the game by Franklin. Didn't let it phase themselves. And essentially the away team here, especially with how the momentum was, they stuck with it and they got some big offense. Their pitching and defense really came back to play. Some of the defense that backed up Evan Callie on the mound, the reason why he could go the full 7. So congratulations to the Taunton Tigers. It's going to be hard for Franklin to get back here, but really just a great game we saw here from LeLatcher Park in the D1 state final.
And one comment about the Panthers, a key inning might have been all the way back to the 2nd inning.
Yep.
Remember, they had 1st and 3rd, no outs to get one in, then 2nd and 3rd, they still 1st and 3rd again with no outs. They could not get another run in, and so they left 2 on in that inning. And with this type of game where it was so close, run so hard to come by, if they pushed one or more across that inning, who knows how this would have come. But hats off to Taunton, and a big salute to the Panthers for an outstanding season. How many teams can say they won 20 in a row as the Panthers did, and they come up 1 run short in the state finals?
Wow, well, what a journey it's been, and I'm trying not to get too emotional, at least until we're off air, guys, but it's been a pleasure with you, yourself, Ryan, Pete, yourself, as well as Nippon, and all of our great producers and camera operators. The whole crew at Franklin TV has been fantastic, and ever since I moved back to Franklin from Kentucky, it's been special here at Franklin TV. So many great memories with all you guys. I've learned so much from all of you, and it's just been great experiencing Franklin athletics with you guys over the last 3 years. It's been a true pleasure.
Well, back to you, Sam, and all the best to you in Nippon as you move on from your senior year. You'll be out to Syracuse University. You'll be a big Orange fan next year.
Yep.
Nippon will be at NYU, and we hope you don't forget about us here at Franklin TV.
No, I certainly won't, and I'm sure Nippon won't either. And I'll definitely check in with you guys on college breaks, that's for sure. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. Franklin comes up just short in the Division I state final as they fall to the Taunton Tigers 2-1. Is the final. Well, for our producer, Chris Flynn, as well as our camera operator, Chris Leverone, and my partners, Ryan Martin and Pete Royce, I'm Sam Reese saying thanks so much for tuning in to another great year of Franklin Athletics. Taunton 2, Franklin 1 the final as the Taunton Tigers win the Division I state championship. So long, neighbors, and we'll see you in the fall.